Okay, I'm going to talk about the oh my gosh, the noise pollution, police sirens for no reason. Every time I try and make a video, they start with their noise. It's to cut off my thinking because right now I'm in like a mindset that I have to share, and it's hard for me to like get all these like words out at it, if you know what I mean. It's like I don't want to go on rambling. I don't want to ramble, but anyway, I'm going to talk about my experiences like with nasty hostile encounters that I've experienced as a child. Okay, as a child, I'll start with as a child. This is going to be predominantly about my youth. Okay, so as a child, my mum had this best friend, and she and her best friend had an argument, okay, over something. I don't even know what it was. And I was about 5 years old. Her best friend turns to me, she points at me, and she goes, "There's something wrong with you." Okay, right, for an adult to do that, to attack a child verbally like that, a child that's done absolutely nothing to warrant such a thing. Okay, I mean, if you're arguing with my mum, like, take your anger on her, okay? What's it to do with me? And yeah, you think, yeah, maybe because she's angry, but no, because this was an ongoing thing. She wasn't the only adult to verbally abuse me. I don't understand why an adult would want to verbally abuse a child. I've never understand that. I don't understand why anyone would do such a thing to a child that's done absolutely nothing to warrant these attacks. And that's why I think it's put down to gang stalking. I don't know, because why would you verbally abuse a child? So let's move on to a neighbour. So basically, like, my mum's like friends with one of the neighbours' kids. Well, not kids, they were adults, like, but my mum's friend's mum was having like a barbecue, so my mum's friend invited us to a barbecue, and like basically my mum wasn't feeling too well, so she was like, says to me, "Why don't you go over and like to the barbecue and that?" So again, I was like 5 or 6 years old, so I went to this barbecue, okay, and then this woman that my mum's friend's mum, this is a different friend by the way, was like staring at me so angrily, and like other people there staring, like they love to stare at me. They always love to stare at me because I don't know why they stare at me, but all my life they've always stared at me ever since I was a child. Everywhere I went, people would stare at me like these angry, hostile nastiness inside them, just staring at me. And I've never understood why. I still don't understand why. I don't know. I don't know, because it, like, I don't know. They just stare. I've got I've got proof. On those other videos I showed you a couple. There's a video I need to find. I still need to find. I can't find it, and it was 2 women staring at me. Anyway, back to the task. And so I was entering for this barbecue, and they stared, and then I heard her say it out loud so that I could hear what's she doing here. Like, I'm a child, you know. I mean, like, why be like that? I don't. It's like everyone. Okay, this is a very derogatory term of putting it this way, like what how I describe it. Everyone treats me like I've just taken a dump in their kettle. I mean, it's a weird thing to say, I know, but that's how they treat. Like, I've done something bad. Like, they treat me like I've done something to them. Like, I've personally done something to them. They treat me like I've done something, and they attack me. But I've never done anything to anyone. I don't wish harm or anything on anyone. Like, it's really hard to just explain. So, yeah, so that's like another encounter. So I was obviously feeling like, wow, why are you treating me like this as a child? I was just confused. I'm like, why are they treating me like this? So, moving on to school. My primary school when I was a child. I was about maybe 9 or 10 at this point, and I was talking to this boy in my class, and we were sitting like, because we were doing outside for PE recess, and we were like playing a game. Like, everyone was like doing a run up and down thing, like, game. So I was talking to this boy, and we had like little pebbles on the ground, and we were like throwing them, right? but like we weren't throwing, like there was people sitting in front of us, but we were not throwing them at those people. We were just like throwing them in general, just in front of us. Like we were not out to hurt or hit anyone. And then like the people there turned around and they were like, "Stop throwing pebbles at us," right? And I'm like, "We're not throwing them at you." And then they were like acting as though they'd been hit by pebbles. They were not being hit. They weren't. We even when we stopped, they were still like acting as though they'd been hit by pebbles. And a girl went up to tell one of their teachers, and then like I went up to the teacher to basically say, like, we never did anything. And the teacher like goes to me, she looks at me and goes, "You're a silly girl." Like, what? Like, why? There was no silly girl for what? She didn't explain why. She didn't say anything other than that. She just said, "Oh, you're a silly girl." Like, why would you say that? For no reason. For literally no reason. I didn't do anything. So, oh yeah, and my actual teacher that was my teacher for a couple of years when in primary 6 and 7, she said some weird things that I didn't understand. I still don't understand what they meant. Like, so it was like one day, I don't know if there's more pollution noise, car horn going off. Anyway, so basically I went up to her. Like, she was sitting at her desk, right? Well, in fact, before then, actually, it was a recess, and I went to get some sweets, because they had, like, a little tuck shop, and everyone would go at recess, and they would buy themselves something, like, some sweets and candy and stuff, so I bought some, like, sweets, I bought some crisps and stuff, and I seen her walking down the hall. She looked at me, and she goes, "I hope you don't starve," like, in a pure hostile, nasty way. Again, I was only, like, 10 years old, and she said that very nastily. "I hope you don't starve." And I'm just, like, what am I meant to respond to an adult teacher saying something like that to me? What am I supposed to say? So later on that day, I had to go to the bathroom during class, so I went up to her and I says, "Excuse me, miss, can I please go to the bathroom?" And then she said, "Seeing you here, yes." Like, I don't understand. Why would you say that? What do you mean, "seeing you here, yes"? Like, I don't understand. Like, why they would do that with me? Like, why be hostile like that? I've never, like, done anything to hurt these people, and they just, like, tend to take things out on me. So, moving on to high school, I had this guidance teacher. She was horrible to me, absolutely nasty, horrible, disgusting, vile, cruel woman, absolutely cruel. So, like, because I had, like, obviously as a teenager you have hormonal issues, like acne and stuff, so she would comment on that. She'd be like, you should get a cream for that and stuff, and she'd just be like horrible, and she'd be like, oh my gosh, this noise pollution. She'd be like, "Can you come to my office?" Right? So, like, she'd often have me in her office. This is another thing they love wasting my time. They love sending me to, like, their places. Like, "Can you come to my office?" So I went to her office, and she was like acting like I wasn't meant to be there. Right? I went to her office and I knocked the door, and she was like, we're surrounded by the other teachers, and she like put her hand on her head and like turned away, like, as though, "Oh my gosh, not this again," like, and the other teachers were just laughing. Like, why do that? Why bully a student? Like, why bully a student, a child? Why would an adult bully a child when you're a guidance teacher? You're supposed to be there to support them. Yeah, so she was a very, very horrible woman. Like, one time as well, she was like complaining to me, like, "You have detention." Oh my gosh, that's noise pollution. I just, like, I had detention, right, and I'd forgotten it was like lunchtime detention or something, but I'd already got my lunch in, and she freaked out at me. She was like shouting at me, so I was like, fine. So obviously I went in a mood, so I put my lunch in the bin. I'm like, fine. And she went, "Pick your lunch out of that bin right now." And I'm like, no. And I walked away, and then when I got home that day, basically she had called my parents, like, because I had the voicemail, and the voicemail was saying, "Your daughter had a strop today," and like trying to make out that like as though I was the villain. It was vile. Also, my PE teacher, out of nowhere again, like, says to me, "There's something wrong inside your head," in front of the entire class. I don't understand why they're bullying bullies like that. Why bully a child? Why would an adult bully a child? Why? I'll never understand it. I'll never understand it, because I personally couldn't bully a child. I couldn't go around being horrible to a child for no reason. So let's move on to yeah, that was it. There was my science teacher. Okay, right, so I was often late to school, right? So I was late, like, way too much. Always late. So I showed up late to my science class, and I had the same science teacher that was my registration teacher. So basically, when registration was finished, we go over to science. So I was like pretty late that day. I must have been like half an hour late, and I walked into his class, and he sent me outside, and he like started berating me. He was so angry and disgusted. He was like, "You can't just come in and disrupt our class. You can't do that. It's vile. You better not coming in at all." Like, just why be that angry? Why be that angry? And then he was so angry, he sent me to next door, the head of science, who was a woman who I had never encountered. I'd never had her as a teacher, never spoken to her, I'd never even seen her, this woman, before. But she was the head of science, and he sent me into her class, right? So basically, when his class finished, so I'd finished, after that I had to go to her class, so went to her class, and all her students for the next lesson were coming in, and she starts being horrible to me, and like, I had my jacket on, right, because like my next class was PE, so I was needing my jacket because our PE place was actually in another building, so you have to leave the school building to go to the sports building to get in, so I needed my jacket on anyway. Not the point. She goes, "Take off your jacket, it's not like you're going to need it where you're going." And I'm just like, you're just being horrible. And she's doing this in front of all her students. Her students were older than me too. Her students were like at least 2 years older than me. And she's going, "Look, I have to waste my time with you, and these students are not getting their education because of you." Like, embarrassing me in front of students, so I was visibly upset. I started crying, and as I was leaving, I was like, she was shouting down the hall because I was walking away, because I was like just in tears, and I didn't want to be standing there crying in front of all these people. And then she's like, "Where are you going?" And I just went, "Fuck you." Like, I literally said that because I was so upset. And then she goes, "Don't bother coming back at all." Like, so I got suspended for 2 days for that. I got suspended for using profanity to her, but she got no repercussion for literally upsetting me and bullying me. Sorry guys, sorry. It's very emotional just thinking back on these things. Like, what made this worse is because when I went to like work experience with the school, basically work experience is when you get a little like experience for work, like a little job that you get with one of like a company or something, whether it be like in a nursery or like a administration thing or something. So I got one in a massage parlour, basically just doing admin stuff like cleaning and filing and stuff. And we got envelopes and letters and stuff to read about living in the workplace, and it says workplace bullying includes if a member of staff insults you and disciplines you in front of other members of staff. This is workplace bullying. So when I read that, and I thought back to what she did, she's a woman and she's disciplining and bullying me in front of my peers, so it was obvious bullying. I don't understand. And I don't understand why they do that. I don't. Not all my teachers were bad, okay? Not all my teachers were bad, but just some of them were. Some of them were just weren't that way and just horrible like that. So there was another one. This was another one. This was like later on. This was like coming up to my like last year of school. We got a substitute English teacher called Mr. Kennedy. He was sitting like telling us a story or something about something like, I don't know, I think it was like ghosts or something. He's like, I don't know, I think it was just some story he was telling us. So basically I put my my head on my hand like to lean, and he screamed at me, "Take your hand down from your face this minute!" Like, and then everyone was just like sniggering and stuff because like, I don't know. So again, this same teacher, I write an essay on something. I don't even remember what the essay was about, but I remember I wrote the word, I think it was the word there, okay? So I wrote it THEIR, but he came over and he said, "That's the wrong spelling." He sat beside me and he was like, "Get your hair out of your face." So I like put my hair back, and then he was like correcting it, and he wrote THERE, okay? And then he left, like, to help other people, and then there was this other woman who, like, was in the class, was a classroom assistant, and she came over and she read my work, and then she corrected what he had just corrected, that mine was correct, it was THEIR, she wrote that, so she corrected what he corrected, but it's just the way he was behaving. And then, like, one day I was in the referral unit, basically, and he was in there, and I'd just come back from lunch, and the teacher that was running there, like running that at the time, she says, "Where have you been?" I'm like, "Just at lunch." Like, "Alright, who were you with?" I'm just like, "Just with my friends and that." And then Mr. Kennedy goes to me, "I don't think you were." Like, what do you mean? Like, why? What do you mean? He doesn't think I was. Just nasty, horrible individual person. Just out to bully. And then there was a time in PE we had a substitute PE teacher who again disliked me for no reason, never met the freaking woman, never, I don't even know who she is. And she freaking, we were all like playing netball, we had like the vests on to like put over our shirts, like the little numbered vest things. So the bell goes and like, oh, it's time to go, so everyone's like taking the vest off and putting them down. I took mine off and put it down, but apparently I hadn't put it down correctly, and she screamed at me, "Get back here right now," by my name in front of all my peers yet again, "and put that there properly," like screaming. Like, these things are not, they don't warrant that sort of verbal abuse, you know? But just to be freaking awkward, I don't know. These are just strange encounters that have happened, and I don't understand why. I don't understand why people do that. They treat me like I've done something to offend them. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry. I'm not sure I can think anymore right now. These are all just the ones that I needed to get out at the minute. I even told my mum about these teachers, and she was even confused. She was like, she didn't understand why they would say these things and do these things, but I don't know.